Hello, hello, hello. Margaret Lloyd here with Eternal Shift New Life. Numb this side of the face, so bear with me. We're going to talk through this as best we can. Absolutely. So today we're going to discuss What Will Destroy a Narcissist by Lisa Brown. We're going to learn how to destroy that. As a relationship expert, Lisa Brown says it's essential to approach the topic of narcissism with a balanced and constructive perspective. Absolutely. Got to be balanced. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we can do about this. All right, what will destroy this narcissistic piece of crap? Narcissistic traits stem from deep-seated insecurities. And while the goal should not be to destroy anyone, you don't necessarily want to destroy anyone, but understanding how to handle a narcissist effectively is crucial for protecting your emotional well-being. So when it says destroy, basically that's what it's talking about. I need to go close my door. We'll be hearing that oxygen machine all day. There we go. We don't want to listen to the white girls. That's what my mother's watching. The Wayans. Narcissists thrive on control, admiration, validation, so situations that diminish their perceived power or importance can destabilize their behavior. Here's a healthier boundary-focused response. Setting firm boundaries. I've set such firm boundaries with my narc that he'll never get back in. Narcissists struggle when they lose control or when their attempts to manipulate or dominate are met with consistent and unwavering boundaries. This approach prioritizes self-respect and limits their ability to exploit others. Here's a real-life example. Rachel and her narcissistic partner. Rachel was in a relationship with a narcissistic partner, Tom, who consistently sought validation and tried to control her decisions. He would belittle her achievements and demand that she focus solely on his needs. Rachel realized that Tom's behavior was draining her emotionally. She decided to set firm boundaries, absolutely, as she should, such as saying no to unreasonable demands and refusing to engage in arguments designed to provoke her. For example, when Tom criticized her for spending time with friends, Rachel calmly replied, I value my friendships, and spending time with them is important to me. I won't change that for anybody. I shouldn't have done that. Over time, Rachel's consistency in standing her ground frustrated Tom because his usual tactics no longer worked. Eventually, Rachel decided to leave the relationship entirely, recognizing that her well being was more important than trying to change Tom's behavior. You want some popcorn? Okay. Removing validation and attention, absolutely. Narcissists often seek validation to fuel their sense of superiority when they're deprived of attention, especially when their behavior is inappropriate. They may become frustrated and struggle to maintain their facade. Real life example: Michael's workplace experience. Michael worked with a narcissistic colleague, we'll call her Karen, who consistently sought praise and took credit for others' work. Instead of confronting Karen publicly, which could escalate the situation, Michael and his team decided to focus on the facts. In meetings, they calmly highlighted each team member's contributions without feeding into Karen's need for accomplishment. For instance, Michael might say, "I appreciate the efforts everyone put into this project, especially Sarah's data analysis and John's creative input." Karen's attempts to claim credit fell flat because she wasn't receiving the validation she craved. Over time, her behavior became less disruptive as she realized the team wasn't playing into her need for admiration. Number 3, narcissists living authentically and independently. Narcissists often struggle when others around them demonstrate independence and self-confidence. Yeah, they don't like this. When their attempts to undermine someone fails, it challenges their sense of control and power. Real life example: Sophia's journey to independence. Sophia was married to a narcissist who constantly belittled her ambitions and tried to control her decisions. After years of feeling diminished, Sophia started therapy and began focusing on her personal growth. She a, pursued a career she was passionate about and built a supportive network of friends and mentors. When her partner tried to demean her accomplishments, Sophia responded calmly, saying, "I'm proud of what I've achieved, and your opinion doesn't change that." Her independence and refusal to engage in his tactics left him feeling powerless. Yay! Eventually, Sophia ended the relationship, finding happiness and fulfillment on her terms. What destroys a narcissist? It's not about destruction, but creating an environment where their harmful behaviors are no longer effective. Narcissists are often destabilized by baby, loss of control, firm boundaries and independence, exposure, when their manipulative behavior is calmly and factually called out, indifference, refusing to give them the validation and attention they seek. Key takeaway. Most effective way to handle a narcissist is not to destroy them, but to focus on your empowerment, boundaries, and well-being. Seeking professional support, which I have, such as therapy, can provide valuable pieces of advice for managing relationships with narcissistic individuals while protecting your emotional health. Absolutely. And that's what we have to do. We need to protect our emotional health. I need to take a little bitty break. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about the wait. All righty. So here we go. We're going to talk about 3 ruthless ways that narcissists will end a relationship. All right? First commonality that all these discards have is that they're always abrupt. Narcissists love this sudden discard, not just because it gives them a quick exit, because of what it does to you, because it leaves you in a bad place. It leaves you disoriented, doubting your own self-worth, scrambling for answers. More than anything, it cements the power dynamic because the one who walks away first appears to have all the control. Sometimes the narcissist, for no other reason than to prove that they can, to send a message. I can leave you at any time. I don't need you. That kind of intentional emotional whiplash is supposed to make you afraid of losing them again. Because then, if the pain of being discarded is worse than the pain of staying, they know you'll be even more willing to tolerate their nonsense next time, just to avoid being alone. Another reason for the sudden discard that's common among narcissists is they have a fresh supply. If they've lined up someone new, they don't necessarily see a need to stick around and wrap things up like someone might do in a healthier relationship, or if they have empathy. But if you've been through this before, or you've been reading my content for a while, you already know this is how this ends. There is no happily ever after with a narcissist. Not at all. You'll lose. It's the same cycle, just with a new person who hasn't caught on yet. There's another reason the discard feels so jarring. That brings us to the next thing that's really common among narcissistic discards, which is the fact that there is never closure. Not real closure, anyway. You know, the kind that allows you to fully process what happened and move on? A narcissist will leave things open-ended on purpose because an open loop keeps you emotionally hooked. That's how they set the stage for breadcrumbing, those little texts, social media interactions, or random checks. check-ins that reignite your hope and pull you back in. It's also how they hover, hover, which means they come back if nothing has happened and suck you back into their drama again. Just when you're feeling like you're breaking free, there you are, back in the cycle. There you are, acting like they never left in the first place. And that's why I left mine completely, totally. I left him. I did not let him back in because if I had, I'd be dead by now. So if you're in this situation right now, I want you to remember they've already given you all the closure you need. Their actions are the answers. And if they were capable of being brutally honest, their words would be just as harsh as their behavior. So while it may sting to face the truth, accepting reality is the fastest way to break free. Now let's talk about these ruthless ways that narcissists will discard. Starting with the most common and most painful one, ghosting. Ghosting happens when somebody simply vanishes from your life. No explanation, no goodbye, just radio silence. And while ghosting has become all too common in modern dating, not everyone who ghosts is a narcissist. But for a narcissist, it's one of their favorite ways to end things. Why is that? Because it requires the least amount of effort. They don't have to have any uncomfortable conversations. They don't have to witness the aftermath. Best of all to them, they get to leave you completely confused, wondering what you could have possibly done. That confusion alone makes them feel powerful. So ghosting usually happens in newer relationships where there's less emotional investment baggage. It typically makes sense. And when someone ghosts after years or maybe even decades together, that's a whole other level of cruelty. I've heard stories of narcissists who packed up, moved out of a shared home without so much as leaving a forwarding address. No warning, no explanation, just gone. I don't want to see anyone in the comments defending avoidance for this kind of behavior. Not at this level. At this level, we're not just talking about avoidance. We're looking at a total lack of empathy and accountability. That tells you everything you need to know about how little they ever plan to take responsibility for their role in the relationship. Even here, we can look at the behavior, and while it definitely comes as a surprise because no one expects this type of behavior from a fellow human being, it starts to make more sense when you look at the person's patterns throughout the relationship. They probably showed a long history of avoiding accountability with very little empathy. But listen, if this has happened to you, I want to be very, very clear. This was never about you being enough to deserve closure. It was about them taking the easy way out while making sure you're left holding the bag. All the emotional baggage, But what they don't realize is that disappearing without a word says more about them than it could ever say about you. Because really, what kind of person does that? Staging a fight at a very inopportune time. This one is especially cruel because it's not just about leaving, it's about making you feel like you're the problem. More often than not, it happens when you're at your lowest. Maybe you're grieving a loss. Maybe you're struggling with your health. Or maybe you just lost a job and trying to figure out what's next for you. These are the moments when a lot of people would step up to support their partner no matter what. But a narcissist, they see your vulnerability as an inconvenience or worse. They see it as an opportunity. Instead of offering comfort, they start a fight out of nowhere. You'll be blindsided trying to figure out what you did wrong, why they're suddenly acting so cold, and why they're making everything harder than it already is. But the truth is, they aren't actually mad at you. They just need a reason to leave that lets them off the hook. Because if they just walked away without a reason, they'd have to face the fact that they abandoned you in your time of need. And narcissists don't like looking like the bad guy. Instead, they'll manufacture a reason, turning your grief, your struggles, your pain into your fault. They'll say you're too negative, too much, too difficult to be around. Suddenly, instead of focusing on what you're going through, you're left defending yourself, defending Margaret, begging them to stay, maybe even apologizing for things that aren't even your fault. This man, I gotta throw the ball. It's for Snickers. She's so funny. She likes playing ball. You ready? But here's what you need to know. This was never about you. This was about them not wanting to deal with your feelings. About them wanting to an escape hatch. About them making sure they leave in a way that keeps you questioning yourself instead of seeing them for who they really are. What? Attacking your insecurities. A third ruthless way that a narcissist will end a relationship is by attacking your insecurities. This honestly is one of the laziest, also gut wrenching ways for a narcissist to end a relationship because, again, they're making you believe that you're the reason they're leaving. But they're not just giving you any reason. They'll go straight for the thing you already are insecure about. Leave it. Leave it. So maybe you've always struggled with social anxiety, let's say. And maybe you've always had body issues. Maybe you worried that you're not outgoing enough, successful enough. The narcissist knows exactly what that thing is. And when they're ready to walk away, they're likely to use it as an excuse. They might say, I can't be with someone who's this awkward in social situations. I need someone more confident. You're just too sensitive. I can't deal with it anymore. You're getting too fat. getting too skinny, whatever. And because this insecurity always exists within you, it cuts deep. You don't just feel rejected, you feel exposed, like they finally confirmed the thing you feared all along. Just a minute. Where is it? Get it? Put it in mommy's hand. Okay. But here's what you need to remember. This isn't about you. A narcissist's reasons for leaving have nothing to do with your worth, everything to do with their social, selfish motive. But they want you to believe it's about you. Because if they can make you think you're the problem, they know you'll stay stuck. You'll second guess yourself. You'll start wondering if you can change, if you should change, if maybe, just maybe, you'd come back if you fix this one thing about yourself. And that's the real trap. Because when they do come back, and they often do, it feels like proof that what they said wasn't true. That maybe you are valuable after all. And just like that, your self worth gets tangled up in their approval, making it even harder to walk away. Next time they pull the same stunt. But the truth is, no one who truly loves you would ever use your biggest insecurity as a weapon against you. Snickers, quiet. If someone leaves you this way, the real issue isn't whatever flaw they try to pin on you. The real issue is them. Let's talk about how narcissists in relationship, because if you're fresh out of a discard and questioning literally everything, that is exactly what they wanted. And more than just being ruthless, their exit was intentionally ruthless. Narcissists discard in ways that maximize your pain while minimizing their own accountability. The worst part is it works. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, you might already know how cruel their breakups can be. They don't just walk away quietly. They make sure to leave a trail of destruction behind. Their goal is not to move out, but to hurt and confuse and even punish their partner in the process. Whether they suddenly disappear without an explanation, shift all the blame onto you, or replace you with someone new in record time, their breakups are designed to leave lasting emotional scars. So, before we get into the specific ruthless ways narcissists in relationships, let's talk about what almost every narcissistic discard has in common. First, if you're feeling blindsided, confused, or you're the only one experiencing this right now, you're not. Narcissists follow eerily predictable patterns when they decide to walk away. And once you see the game for what it is, you won't waste time searching for answers that don't exist. And that's that on that. Tomorrow we'll discuss something new. about narcissists and their behaviors. So I want you to think about what I discussed today. Think about how you can stay away from this narcissist, get away from this narcissist, and find yourself. Please, please find yourself. I have found these wisdom podcasts, these Buddhist secrets. I mean, there are so many good ones. Bill Robbins, Buddha, Buddhism teachings. Reset your mind, stay calm, let go, let them. Just so many great posts that just really, really help a lot. And I know that you can get more help. But I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Peace, love, take care of yourself. Have a blessed, beautiful day. May God bless.